You had a very major meeting yesterday. My first question is, where did that meeting take place? That was at the Prime Minister's house, it looked like?
At the Prime Minister's residence.
Interesting place for a meeting?
A good place for any meeting. Could I indicate, I do have a statement we'll issue to the press in a few minutes. I just authorized a statement to the press. I have taken note of the statements by both former Prime Minister Keith Rowley and former Minister Stuart Young yesterday. And I want to indicate that I find it to be the height of hypocrisy, shamelessness, that Mr. Young and Dr. Rowley would speak to us about terms and conditions of an OFAC license. When we had to go through freedom of information, when I personally had to go through the Gazette in Venezuela to find a copy of the license, the OFAC license that was issued previously to the PNM administration. The Attorney General yesterday was extremely forthcoming and essentially read the entire license live on television to the press. The entire country knows it's a 6-month license that provides for negotiation and transaction pursuant to the Dragon Gas project. The Attorney General, I believe, was extremely candid. It's a legal, very short 2-page legal instrument, and the Attorney General announced that yesterday. There's nothing more in terms of terms and conditions. This is a phase basis. We will now embark on a process of negotiations over transactions, and we will seek to get an agreement in the best interest of all stakeholders.
Is that better, 6 months? Because you've raised issues about how short-term contracts lead people to be beholden to the people giving it to them. So every 6 months you have to be nice, because you're not sure if you're getting another. Is that really a better deal?
Well, if I add on to that, Dr. Rowley today said that you can't compare the OFAC license they got, which was 2 years, and then the one that we have now, which is 6 months. So we had some issue with the AG saying that the license that you all have received is a better deal when it's
is it a better deal?
Let's put it this way. When we entered office, there was absolutely no valid OFAC license. It was revoked. So the Dragon Gas project was dead. It was dead on arrival when we arrived. We had to do some very intensive and significant discussions with all stakeholders, including the United States, of course, but all. We had to go through a process, which we did. In fact, very early, that was part of the work we did under the guidance of the Prime Minister from day one. And we have now achieved a very significant milestone in that it allows us now to create a viable pathway to developing and producing the Dragon field.
What did we have to give up for that? Did we have to give them anything?
No, I keep hearing about giving up this and what did we promise Venezuela and what we didn't promise Venezuela. The only thing I think we promised Venezuela is that Mr. Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley will have no part of the energy future of Trinidad.
What did we promise the US?
I think we promised them that Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young would never return to the energy landscape of Trinidad and Tobago as well.
What did they say to that?
No, well, the whole world is in agreement with that point, so that there's no issue there. But I want to make another significant point that we will develop in a press release, is that on entering the ministry, I asked for a brief on the Dragon Gas project. I asked for all documents pertaining to that. To this day, I can confirm, because I confirmed only a few minutes ago with the Permanent Secretary, that we have absolutely no document in English dealing with the conditions of the former Dragon Gas license, OFAC license. We have none in English.
You have people who speak Spanish?
Now, I want to tell you something. When you make an agreement and you don't speak the language, Mr. Stuart Young traveled with a translator about 13 times. He doesn't speak Spanish, and the documents are in Spanish. So I want to know, what did he agree to? And how did he agree and sign a document if there's no English equivalent to it? At this point, I have asked the ministry to please go through a process and procure translation so that we can find out what were their terms and conditions of their license. In terms of ours, I can tell you the Attorney General has read all the the pertinent issues and areas in the license, and there's absolutely nothing more to reveal. So this issue of secrecy and not disclosure is really nonsense, because there's nothing else we can disclose at this time. Because
Do you
we
speak
are beginning
Spanish?
a process.
Do you speak Spanish? Because you have to negotiate with the Venezuelans. How do you plan to overcome that issue then?
I will tell you, at this level where you are dealing with technical, legal, institutional, political matters and so on, you don't chance it. This is not going to a bar and ordering a cerveza or something like that, you know.
Yeah, so how do you plan to overcome the challenge?
We will have to engage, of course, with persons doing translation and so on. But the point I want to make is that I want to ask squarely to Mr. Young whether or not he took away documents from the Ministry of Energy pertaining to the dragon gas, because I noticed Dr. Rowley was quoting from some type of documents and paper today, and I'm wondering whether they took papers and documents away when they disgracefully demitted office, because we want those documents back, particularly if they're in English, because we have to go and do that work again.
Are you going to go personally to Venezuela the way Stuart Young would have gone several times?
We will discuss in the coming days. There's a process, a diplomatic process, as you could imagine, and we'll discuss in the coming days who will travel and the issues. We have to discuss issues. We have to, hammer out with all stakeholders the pertinent matters pursuant to that, and everyone at the end of the day will know what is discussed, what is agreed, that type of thing. But having said that, I also want to make the point, I saw a lot of mischief in the press and the social media in particular today about the energy minister and so on. I want to confirm that I am not the Attorney General of the country, and the Attorney General is not the Minister of Energy of the country.
How do you plan to negotiate given the heightened tension, the rhetoric that's been back and forth between the two? How do you tone down those tensions and get Venezuela back on our side to let them explore those fields?
As I've said before to the press, this is a matter that involves energy diplomacy. It involves meeting and treating with issues before us, energy matters in this case. And when the time comes, as it will, we will have that type of discussion, we will engage. And I am very confident and optimistic that we will get a good outcome in terms of this project. But this is not the only project, as you know.
Does that require acknowledging Nicolas Maduro as the president of Venezuela?
I want to say that all of those matters and other matters and unrelated matters and so on do not arise at this point. At this point, we are just taking it phase 1 has been mission accomplished. We have a clear and viable pathway. We are now going to embark on phase 2, which is of course some discussions, negotiations, transactions pursuant to the OFAC license, which is now in our possession. And I'll ask Mr. Young and Mr. Rowley to please stay away from this matter and don't complicate it with mischief, and don't complicate it with fake news, and don't complicate it with just bacchanal and scandal.
So just to be clear, you're saying that the issue of whether or not Nicolas Maduro is the president of Venezuela, or we acknowledge Nicolas Maduro as the president, does not arise at this time?
Those issues do not arise, and they don't arise for me, because I'm concerned with 3 to 4 trillion cubic feet of gas in the Dragon Field project. We are concerned with that and the terms and conditions pursuant to an approval of the United States authorities and an existing license from Venezuela. And it is a pity that we cannot find the terms and conditions of the former government embark upon those terms and conditions. We cannot find it in English. And as I said, that was a very, very disturbing reality for me, because now we have nothing to measure to in terms of what was done before. So I don't know what they have done before. We don't know what they agreed to in terms of critical negotiating points in this matter. And in the coming days, as we unravel that mystery, I will get back to the press.